Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Maaike. Today I have 10 favorite brushes and makeup tools for you. I was a bit out of video ideas because the Catrice video that I was hoping to post earlier in the month took a couple of other weeks, and then I started switching things around, and then I sort of lost footage. It was a mess. So I decided to just do something really quick and easy and talk to you about my 10 favorite brushes and makeup tools in today's video, because I don't think I have a video like that up yet. I did do an entire overview of my entire brush collection, I think a year ago, but just talking about like some of my favorites and why I like them so much. That's something I haven't done yet. If you would like to know what I have on my face today, then stay tuned, because this makeup-y look is coming your way on Thursday. Just in case you were wondering. And that's why I also had these brushes and tools up here, because I just filmed this makeup look and I thought, hey, I can then sit down and talk about my top 10 favorite brushes and makeup tools. So I think I will have officially more than 10, but there are a couple of things that I just use all the time, and I just want to sort of pinpoint my favorites. And before we start talking about brushes, one thing I have to mention is sponges. This is an AOA, like it's one of their more special like paw sponges, I think. They're not the regular ones, but they have like a little doggy next to it. Those are the ones that I picked up anyways, and these are super soft, super easy to blend your makeup with. This is a fairly clean one because I only used it once so far, but yeah, these do get dirty quite easily. They are lovely. They do stay wet quite long. They take a long time to dry, I find. But yeah, this is a really nice makeup sponge, and they are very cheap and cheerful. I bought mine on the AOA website. They ship internationally. Hallelujah. And I think their shipping is like a flat rate of $10. So I was like, you know, a beauty blender is already 20 euros. And I do like the Real Technique sponge, but that falls apart on me really quickly. I like the Primark ones, but now that I've tried these, I actually prefer these. And these are just as expensive. So then I just buy a couple of them in one go. That's what I did last time. Yeah, now I have like a couple of these on the go. So the AOA makeup sponges I love. Highly, highly recommend. Also for the face, I have a couple of favorite brushes. And I just really have to mention this. And not this brush in particular. This is a crown brush. This is the C406 Large Duo Face Brush, but just the fact of like using a brush like this, a large stipple brush for bronzer. That's just pro tip, especially if you are fair skinned and bronzer can like too much on your skin very easily. I would say try applying your bronzer with a large stipple brush. It won't pick up as much product. It very nicely diffuses the bronzer along your face. And that's why I do really like it. I used to have one by Sigma. That one fell apart after washing it and washing it and washing it. And so when I had to repurchase one, I decided to try this one, and this has been just as lovely. It's a crown brush, as I mentioned. So that I wanted to mention. And then I think for face brushes, like I don't really use anything other than that I feel is very noteworthy. Like I've been applying my blush with the same Real Techniques blush brush for I think like the past decade or so. Highlighter brush is a Sigma brush called the F03, the high cheekbone highlighter. This was revolutionary when I tried it because it's a denser brush, but I find that with highlighter it really depends on the highlighter itself, how it's going to be picked up by a brush. So I have several. Powder brush, Sigma F25 has been a standard in my brush collection for a long time, but it's not, they're like utilities. I don't really go like raving about it. They didn't really change my makeup application for me. A brush that I use for the face that did change my makeup application for me is a swirly brush like this. I do apologize, I just used it, so that's why it looks a bit gross perhaps. It's always like the conundrum. If you want to film about brushes, you also want to do your makeup before you sit down to film that video. So then having clean brushes is very nonsensical. This is an e.l.f. brush. This is their Swirl Foundation brush, I believe. Again, I had one by Real Techniques, but I think that one became very difficult to find, so that's why I switched to this, and they're around the same price point. And I use this for primer. So I start using primers more so after I moved 2.5 years ago, because I just ride my bike everywhere, and I felt that that really broke down my makeup a lot more quickly. So that's when I got into face primers. And at first I was applying them with my fingers, and that works fine. I mean, you can apply primer with fingers, no problem. But I just really liked using a brush like this. And it has a little dent, so you can put the product in there so it doesn't go running everywhere. And then you can just like brush it on and then use the brush to blend in the primer. Works really well. My Real Techniques one fell apart, I think, because primer can be a bit sticky. As it like attaches itself to the hairs, and this one is suffering from it as well, the hairs start to come out, and I think that my Real Techniques one had just too many hairs that had fallen out. And then I was like, when I was washing it, it was just like half the brush head came out. So I hope it won't happen to this one, but it's a cheap and cheerful brush, so I wouldn't mind it if I have to repurchase this like every 2 or 3 years. But yeah, I do hope they keep doing brushes like this, because it's really helpful to have that little dent for your primer, and it just keeps your hands nice and clean. It makes it easier to blend. You use less product, so it's a win-win situation. Now, I think where I sort of have most brushes that are like my standout favorites is in this little guy. And these are my sort of like more everyday, using all the time eyeshadow brushes. And in here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, where are you? 5, 6, I can have 7, right? Because I've got 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I think, yeah, let's do this one. Let's do this one. So 7 eyeshadow brushes that I use every single day. That's why they're dirty as hell. I did spot clean these before sitting down to do my makeup today, but then I used a blue eyeshadow in my outer V, so that's why this one is super dirty. And these I reach for every single day. There are a lot of other really great brushes in here that I use, for instance, to set my base with, or to blend something out on the lower lash line, or that I use when I want to do a one shadow look, or something more smudgy, or that I use when I apply glitter and all that. But I don't do that on a daily basis. So that's why these ones, not all of them get used all that much. But these ones I reach for every single day. So I usually start my makeup look with the MAC 217. This is what I use to apply eyeshadow into the crease, and I use it to blend it out at the same time. That to me was revolutionary, because I used to use like a brush like this, actually a bigger one, the E40 by Sigma. This is their E38. And this is actually better for me because I don't have that much lid space, so this is a bit smaller. But this I kind of use to just blend something out if I don't want there to be eyeshadow on the brush. But in the morning, I don't have that kind of time, so I just use my MAC 217, apply the product, and then just sort of diffuse it up. And that's pretty much what I do with this. I sometimes use this even for 2 or 3 shades in a given look. If I want to do something super quick, I just kind of like even like put the crease shade in my outer V by circular motions with this brush. This is such a great all-rounder. I did buy mine before they changed to synthetic brush hairs. So this is still an old one. This is one when they still used goat hair, but MAC changed it all to synthetic hairs. I've heard people say it's not as good. However, I've had mine for, how long have I had this brush for? 6 or 7 years? Maybe a bit shorter, more like 5 perhaps. But I've had this for such a long time, and I use it every day. I clean it all the time, and it's still holding up really well, so I don't really see myself needing to repurchase that anytime soon. Then to further blend out the crease, because I like doing this, if I have a bit more time to really diffuse the color up, again, I used to go in with a bare brush and then blend out shadow, but I find that on my eye shape, what works best is if I take a very fluffy brush, like this one. This is the Zoeva 224 Looks Defined Crease Brush, and this is super wispy. Let me hold this up a bit closer. So this is super wispy. And that's why I really like it for like using a little bit more of the same shade or sometimes a bit of a lighter shade than what I already have going on in the crease and really transition it to my brow bone. So that's what that one gets used for. And then what I sometimes do, but I don't do this all the time, but I did do it today, is sort of put a shade in my outer V. So I kind of go toot and then toot, and that's my outer V action. This is another Zoeva brush. This is their 231 Petite Crease. And I do apologize for how gross this is because I didn't use it today, as I mentioned earlier. And as you can see, this has a very strong, like, pencil-y, like domed sort of shade. And since I have a very deep crease, I really need something that can really get in there and really fluff the shade in there. So this is almost, this gives you the precision to really draw that V shape, you could say. And then at the same time, it's fluffy enough that you can sort of diffuse it out. And then I like to take my 217 again for that crease to really make sure I blend the two shades together that I'm using there. So that's usually my tactic. So especially when I do this, I'll first use a color with this, blend it out with that, put this color on again, and then I do my little blending action with these two again. And I feel that that works every single time. Then what I tend to do is put on a shade on the lid, and for that I use the Sigma E55. This is absolutely grubby looking. If anyone has tips for cleaning brush handles, then please let me know, because I don't want to get the soap to go down here when I wash my brushes, because then this can just sort of come off of the brush handle. This brush is, I think, a decade old. Like, this is when I first wanted to buy like true makeup brushes. This was one of the first things I bought, and I remember it being life-changing. I'm not sure if I have, do I have anything in here that I used to use? No, they were probably in my different, like my other brush cups. So I still have a couple of like, more like cheapy, like flat shader brushes that are still lovely, but that I use with like things like, you know, if I need to throw it away or if it's like really dirty or whatever, that's when I use that. But this is just lovely. It really applies your makeup very, very easily. It's just a flat shader brush. It's really not that special, but to me it was life-changing when I first made that transition into real eyeshadow brushes, you could say. And then for the inner corner, I always use this. This is the E30. This is their pencil brush by Sigma. And this is just an itty bitty little brush. And I use this for my inner corner. So every single day I use this brush for my inner corner. Again, because it has that pencil shape, it really makes it easy to go around your tear duct and not get the eyeshadow everywhere. So I love that. Another great precision brush is one you can no longer buy. This is a Sephora smudger brush. And again, it's super small. So let me zoom in on this. So that's what this one looks like, and it's very dense. It doesn't have a lot of give to it like that Zoeva Deluxe, like that was like super wispy. This has hardly any give to it, and I love this for the lower lash line to really get some good color on there. I don't like blending my eyeshadow too far down because I have pretty heavy bags under my eyes, and I feel that bringing color down too much is just going to accentuate that a bit too much. But if I want to blend out my lower lash line, I use this one. And this was revolutionary when I tried it. It's again a Zoeva brush. This is their 228 Luxe Crease Brush. And it's got green on it, so I do apologize. This is what that brush looks like. It's again quite wispy, and it's also quite big for this area, I find. But I love this with like a skin colored or like a very light shade, and it really makes sure that the color on your lower lash line is not too harsh and that you do blend it out a little bit without it looking too overpowering on your lower lash line. So yeah, those were my top 10 favorite brushes, and I just thought we should talk about brushes again because I haven't talked about these for a while, and I just thought it could be a fun video in between everything else that we're doing. So thank you very much for watching this video today. Glad to have you here. If you'd like to see more videos by me, then by all means, if you want to, please subscribe to my channel. I make 3 new videos a week, and I would love for you to join my little family here. And yeah, I'm going to be doing the clutter series very, very soon, so I hope you will enjoy that. Bye for now.